I feel like I'm having a stroke. I'm in an ambulance, dodging peak traffic, headed to the ER. I was brought up with the mentality that success is going to school, get your degree, get a job. This doesn't feel entirely right. The question is, yeah, but what am I supposed to do? This is what I went to school for. I've made investments in this, time, energy, all these things. And so I just kept trying to go on, holding on and trying to make it work until my health started failing, right? My doctor is like, well, we did a workup and there's nothing wrong with you physically.
I'm sorry. If you are a medical professional or you know somebody in the medical profession and your answer to there's something wrong, and I can tell there's something wrong, is, well, the tests say there's nothing wrong with you. With all due respect, you. I live in this body. I know that what's happening is not normal. And I'm coming to you with concern and with fear and with deference to your experience and your respect. And if your response is, well, there's nothing wrong with you, go home, with all due or no respect at all.
Yeah. And I remember vividly what I used to get was really bad migraines. Well, I'm sleeping enough, I'm trying to eat healthy, blah, 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 the works. And different doctors tells you, well, you're female, so migraines are normal. And I'm like, no, they're not. What is wrong with you? No, they're not. So anyway, I started doing my own research and trying to listen to podcasts. And I realized that your body tells you stuff. Your body will communicate to you and tell you, hey, this is too much for me. It's not working, blah, blah, blah. I literally had to force CT scans and tell the doctor, no, you need to put in CT scans because I need to know for a fact that there isn't a physical reason why I'm getting this really bad migraines. And so they did, and nothing is found. And I'm like, what? And so the next step is to go to a neurologist. And I'm thinking, I don't know what? This doesn't make sense. And lucky enough, I come across this ENT specialist because I'd been told, oh, you have a sinus infection. And I'm like, first of all, I don't feel stuffy, so I don't understand where you're getting that from, but okay, cool. And she looks at my charts and she's like, well, you don't need to go to a neurologist. I'm going to give you some meds, but mostly vitamins, right? And that was vitamin B, which for me was like, wait, what? Simple vitamins? Okay, cool. And I started taking them. And within a couple of weeks, my migraines disappeared. So what I did not know at the time was that vitamin B helps with stress. If you're under acute stress, it helps with that, right? But then at the same time, this was just a band-aid. I haven't dealt with the real reason. This is mostly the last year of me being in corporate because at one point I was doing 3 people's jobs, and there has to be a better way because it's fine. You'll take the pill, you'll feel so much better within a short time, but you've not dealt with the root cause of whatever, right? So anyway, back to the office. The migraines aren't as often and, things are improving, and that's fine. And I try to put in boundaries. I start pushing back a lot more. No, I'm not doing that. I'm not available for that, blah, blah, blah. And so one day on a random sunny afternoon, I just had my lunch and out of nowhere, I get this headache, right? And I'm thinking, well, it's probably just a migraine. Maybe I'm just stressed. Let me just ride it out, right? Like, I don't even need the meds. Let me just ride it out. And then it's going nowhere. And I'm thinking, well, I've eaten, I slept kind of okay. Like, I don't understand what's happening. And so at the office, we had this kind of receptionist who had a few fast aid things, and she has painkillers, right? And she gives me one and I take it and she says, oh, first sit down. She was also like the clinician, right? And I'm thinking at the time, this is unnecessary. I can go back to my desk. It's not a big deal, whatever. In a few minutes, I'm nauseous and I throw up. And I see her reaction to that because in my head, I'm thinking, maybe I should just go home. Maybe I should just take the rest of the day off. And she's like, actually, no, I need to call the ambulance. I have never been in an ambulance my entire life. I have never had to go to the ER my entire life. And I'm thinking, what do you mean? So before I know it, I can't remember the passwords to my computer and stuff. I feel like I'm having a stroke. Is this how it feels to have a stroke? I know it's not a stroke, but it feels like that because I can't even think, I can't talk. Everything is just jumbled up. And all of a sudden, by now, it's kind of late afternoon and I'm in an ambulance dodging peak traffic, headed to the ER of the nearest hospital. I couldn't call anyone, right? I had my phone and I still wasn't able to figure out phone numbers. So I finally get at the ER, I get a bed, blah, blah, blah. And the painkillers they're giving me aren't working. And I'm thinking, this doesn't make sense. And as I'm sitting there, trying to hope that the meds kind of kick in and whatever, someone in the next cubicle loses their life. And that for me is a come to Jesus moment. I was trying to hold on to this job because, oh, I need to pay rent, the usual stuff, right?
Yeah.
I've invested too much, I can't get out. What will I do? And now I'm here, in a hospital and someone is losing their life. And if I'm not careful, that could potentially be me because, right now my body is like, I've had enough. We can't continue doing this, right? I need to make a change. It is scary. It probably will not make sense to other people. But at this point, you need to figure out what not only helps other folks, but also works for you.
Yes.
How can you use your skills and talent without necessarily driving yourself to the grave? And I think that's a lesson even for most entrepreneurs, right? Because it's so easy to kind of get caught up in the vision and